Welcome back to another Wuthering Waves video. In this video, we are going to be going over the exclusive gameplay footage that IGN posted a few days ago, and we're going to be going over everything that you missed that I wanted to talk about during my reaction, but I just couldn't because I was in so much shock. Look at that, bro. Look how good it looks, bro. I reviewed the footage a couple times by myself, and I want to explain a couple things to you guys on like certain things that I noticed that I think would be very valuable for any upcoming Wuthering Waves players out there that want to know more about the game itself. Also, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more Wuthering Waves content. I've been posting a lot of it recently, and I've been getting a bunch of feedback from the community, and the community has been super nice, super kind, very encouraging. So I'm going to try my very best to make as much content as I possibly can for you guys. As long as some news comes out every now and then, or I might have to pull something out of the bag and try to figure something out, I'll do that too. But let's just get into this video. Just to let you guys know, I will be slowing down this footage a lot so we could get really deep into detail on Wuthering Waves, like the world, the actual gameplay, and all that stuff. Okay, now I want to establish that the buttons on the bottom right, there's basically T for grapple, like for you to like grapple Spider-Man, whatever you want to call it. We have our E ability, we have our Q for our companion Echo, and then R is like our ultimate attack or triumphant state. I don't know how to say it, but we could just call it ult, right? I find it interesting when she attacks this enemy, she jumped, ground hit, and then skilled, which is pretty cool. And as she's doing her skill, all these like crazy slices are coming through. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a Yaka. But this is all the Arrow Concerto element. So here we do have an obstacle like puzzle type of thing with a new gadget that you can use to like zipline across to get to places a lot quicker. And also there's like this gliding mechanism with a zoom ring that like pushes you out. Running up the walls is super fluid. I love how you can use the environment. Look how you jump over the log. Honestly, that right there just can tell you how fluid this game really is. It's gonna be a lot of fun to actually explore and roam the area at a fast pace. You know, you don't need like any speed running strats or anything. It looks like every character is gonna be running pretty quick. And I believe we reached the destination and we are gonna open a chest. Here, I really want to point something very important when it comes to opening this chest. Usually with games like this, when you open a chest, it usually is like a list of stuff, and the items that are at the top are the most important or the rarest, and it goes down to like non-rare. I wanted to point this out from the very beginning because I was like, oh my god, this makes so much sense. As you open this chest, you get Union XP, which is basically the level of your account. And the thing that I found super interesting here, and probably extremely important to like really like understand that this is like official, is this thing called Tastetree. I don't even know if I'm saying this right. Tastetree voucher, and there's only one. I'm gonna mention this again when we go into further down in the video, but I find this interesting because this could potentially be what we use to pull for the characters if they have a gacha system. The reason why I feel like it is because in Punishing Gray Raven, I believe they do use vouchers or like tickets to pull for characters, and I think they call them vouchers. I could be completely wrong on that, but nonetheless, it seems very important because it's in gold. Commemorative coin, not really sure what that is, but it has a weird symbol on it, and the symbol kind of looks like when you do these boss battles, it has like that Wuthering Waves cross we've seen all over the game. So I don't really understand yet what this does, but it seems important because it's purple. So I'm gonna assume that maybe it's to level something specifically with the gear that you have. Not really sure on that. And the next thing we have Taste Tight. I don't even know if I'm saying this right either. It looks like this is gonna be the currency that we're gonna be using the whole time. And here's this thing called Training Gauntlet, and I think that's just like fodder. Basically, if you don't know what fodder is, it's basically a lower piece of equipment that you use to level up a higher piece of equipment, right? So this looks like fodder to me. It might be something that you can use to level up a certain weapon for a character. I don't know which character, maybe it's all of them, or maybe it's a specific weapon. I'm not really sure. And Weather Ride Transmitter, I have no idea what that is, but nonetheless, I'm gonna assume it's something that has to do with leveling up one of your characters. I'm just gonna assume that, right? Now, here's another puzzle that we're kind of like familiar with games. So in these open world games, they have like cool little puzzles. This one's cool because like it's like a little metal pod. You hit it, it kind of like shines and says, hey, like maybe there's more. So usually with these types of puzzles, you kind of have to like look around that area, try to find it. And it's cool that here you see like actually a little frequency wave, hence the name Wuthering Waves, right? So it's cool that they have that here. You have to scan it to like unlock it so it could be visible. You hit it, cool, it's already done. Now you're gonna find the next one, right? I love that at the end of it, which I don't know if anybody saw this small detail. There's a thumbs up to let you know, hey, you're done, go get your chest. Now, we gotta talk about this because somebody in my comment section of one of my videos mentioned this to me and I was like mind blown. I was like screaming. Dude, the background, do you see that thing in the back? Dude, this thing is a freaking dragon. I'm starting to see is there's like some type of lore or something to do with dragons. I mean, we've seen the dragon stuff like in different trailers and different like pictures and like art and stuff, but that looks like a rock dragon. Like the wings are right here. This is like the body, I don't know. Don't exactly know what that means, but still cool detail to mention. So I wanted to point this weird detail that I just noticed right now. So it says make no conflicts with Huanglong officials or other gangs. To me, just reading the note, I feel like Huanglong officials are people we might be against, or they might be on our side as the player. But for sure, gangs are like those enemies that we randomly see, not the actual creatures, but the people like all geared up and stuff. Those are probably gangs. Maybe there's different gangs in the game. I don't know. Very interesting nonetheless. There is a new glider here. We're used to seeing the umbrella from the technical test and the other betas that we've had before. And they used to use an umbrella, but it looks like you could change it, but they put like this like hook thing with like wings on the side. Looks really, really cool. And here we acquire an audio casket, which I have no clue what that does, but it is important because it's gold. We're gonna assume that all the gold items are very important. We're just gonna say that. It's probably just very obvious, right? Absolutely love that you could just run up the ladder. You don't have to climb it. You just run up that thing and you are good to go. This cool new thing that I've seen it in Death Stranding. Supposedly it's been in Dark Souls, I think, but basically this is like a community like online mechanic where like you can like put like a sticker on the floor or a little light. You could write something funny and other players, maybe potentially in the same server, will be able to read that and maybe laugh, or maybe you could warn them like, hey, this boss is like super hard, be careful. It's cool to like have that mechanic in this type of environment because it makes it feel more like you're not there by yourself. Now for this specifically, I'm not gonna go too much into detail on the gameplay stuff because I want to make that a separate video, but it is cool to see like in slow motion, especially how these like mechanics are working, right? When we're on Yang Yang, she uses her skill, slices them up, and then she goes into her companion Echo and this dog thing attacks. Now, I just want to say I'm confused on this. If anybody in the comments below could explain this to me, I want to know why this is darker red. I don't think it's like fire because when Cheeksia starts attacking, it's like an orange. Maybe this is like a dark element and there's like a light element. That's just like my theory. I'm not really sure on that, right? Because once Cheeksia starts attacking, it turns orange clearly. The colors are completely different. And here, you're done with the enemy and you capture them like in Pokemon, easy peasy lemon squeezy. We use the little hourglass like faces or whatever you want to call them to capture the Echo companion. I'm going to mention this again because when you open a chest, the most important thing is gold. Taste Tree 8. Voucher is 3. Now, what I want to say is I think the reason why we're getting more here is because these were enemies and not a puzzle. A puzzle will probably give you less than actually fighting an enemy. So we can just speculate here, you know, because we don't really know until we actually get hands-on experience with the game and what do these items really do. Hopefully if I get accepted into the beta, then I would love to explain that more into detail. Right now we're gonna go into the UI and the menu of Wuthering Waves, and so far it is looking super clean, dude. Like we got like all the characters here on the right side, and they didn't even show by Leon. I'm kind of like sad that they didn't put her in there. She's such a cool character. I don't know why they didn't put it in there. I know they wanted to show Gion, but you know, by Leon would have been cool too. For Yang Yang, we have the element, the Concerto element as aerodynamic. Don't know if there's a difference between aero or aerodynamic, because Ji-Yeon's element is just aero, but Ji-Yeon is aerodynamic. So I don't know if there's a difference between those two. I don't know, not 100% sure. We also have the weapons menu system here, which we didn't even get to see. We only went straight into the companion echo system, which I was sad about. I was like, no, like I want to see more, dude. Show me more of this system. Hopefully we get to see more as we get closer to the beta. I don't know if they're gonna tease anything else, but nonetheless, still pretty cool. Now, this is like a very interesting system overall, because they're all like leveled, right? So we have level one, and they're assigned to each character. Very interesting to know that there's classes. So maybe when you level up to 5, which is like the cap, maybe the class changes. I'm not really sure. Now that it's saying deals 59% of dissociation damage, I think dissociation is an element, because this wolf attacked and it was a darker red, and I wanted to know why, and it kind of looks like this color a little bit, so maybe that's what dissociation is. Hunting variation, I feel like when I saw hunting variation, I think there's different variations of this specific echo. So maybe there's like a red one, a blue one, a green one, a yellow one, you know, maybe there's like different types and you could use them to your advantage. Maybe what I'm thinking is when it tells you Concerto vibrancy, maybe if you get the Concerto element of the same that you equip to your character, maybe it gives them like a buff, or maybe it gives them a faster cooldown or a faster recharge to like use the ult quicker. Just a theory, I'm not really sure, but still cool to talk about. We're gonna go over like when they summon it. I don't know if it means anything, but when they summon it, they turn a certain color. Now, I don't know if that means anything, but to me, it feels like this echo that Yang Yang summoned was the same color as her element, right? So I don't know if that has any correlation, if that has to do anything, but still an interesting detail to point out. And the same thing goes for Chixia. When we switch to Chixia, correct? Chixia pulls it out and it turns red. Now, I don't know if that means anything. It's just very obvious to me. Let's talk about a very interesting puzzle here that you have to go into your gear, scan, and you scan around your area. And as you turn, you're gonna see a little crystal yellow rock thing. You could grab this thing, you can literally throw it at this rock. And the thing that's really cool is that, you know, a lot of times when you solve a puzzle or like something like this, you don't really like expect an enemy to pop out, and that enemy just comes charging at you. Very cool elements of surprise. I hope they do more of this, because it's like, it's more engaging instead of just like solving like, yay, like at least when you're like trying to solve it, like, oh damn, like something happened, you caught me off guard. You know, something like that's really, really cool. As we're fighting this big rock thing, we're using our skill. We're using a bunch of different attacks, right? Yang Yang is going ham, and then we switch to the MC Rover and does like a stomp down attack, right? And then it does like this crazy like circle thing, which I think they used their skill for this, right? And we go into the ult right away, and you could see this little thing here, which I don't know what this really means. I'm not really sure. If you guys let me know in the comments below, please explain it to me. I have no clue. It looks like it's supposed to be filled up all the way. It's not yet. So she puts it out and this thing just gets annihilated in one shot. Super cool ult. As we're moving along, Yang Yang has this little flower like light pedal thing going on, and I don't really know what that is either, but it's still an interesting detail, because I thought it was her ult at first, but it's not. It just seems like her Concerto is filled up all the way. Now, my guess with this is that I see this weird like wave thing coming around, still slicing and dicing, right? And then we switch over. Oh, it says Dispersal Concerto. What? I did find this very interesting. Hold up. It is very similar to PGR, because PGR has a mechanic that's very similar. When you fill up a certain bar on your character, when you switch over, they do like a special attack in PGR. Now here is kind of similar, because all of them are filled up. We switched over to MC and it says Dispersal Concerto. So maybe we have two different ult attacks. We have the ult attack of the character that we're currently in, and we also have a different ult attack when their charge is ready and when we switch. So maybe that's another mechanic that we're not like familiar with, but as you can see, there's a field and a circle surrounding everything, them and the enemies. And another thing that I noticed is that these enemies are floating in the air. Now, I don't know if that's because of the dispersal concerto attack that the MC used, not really sure, but she disappeared here, and as they're floating in the air, slow motion defeats all the enemies. Easy peasy. We see the menu system here. Concerto effect. Oh my god. Okay, wait. So this is concerto effect. There's the wind, anemo, flame. I don't know what that is, but that's probably hers, right? So wait. So if we switch, oh, this is very interesting. So there's a concerto effect. So maybe when you have different elements on your team, you get different types of concerto effects. And I want to know what the, oh, we have slots here. Cool. So we have different team slots already. We already have 5. That's pretty cool. Didn't notice that detail before. I guess when you get into the concerto effect, it like affects your environment as you're fighting. So here we're attacking the boss. We have this new companion that we haven't seen, this electric thing going crazy, going zoom back, zoom forth. It looks like it teleports to different enemies on the field depending on like where they're at. So it looks like it just goes back and forth, back and forth. Look, at attacks here and attacked over there, attacks back, and this one hit for 370. Yeah, that's a big hit, you know, compared to all the other hits I've seen. 300 hits, pretty high. So now we're gonna go into the actual resin system. We go in, we see this little like rock shaped form, and we have to obtain it. It's called a Tastite Bloom, and here it is, guys. So I'm assuming the resin is called wave fragments. So we're familiar with the system. A lot of gacha games have this type of system. The one thing that I really wanted to point out here, guys, you're gonna be like, what? I didn't even notice that. This was a pretty big boss, and when you open the chest here, you get 5 vouchers. And I'm telling you guys, I think the voucher stuff is for you to do your summons or wishes for characters, because here, since this was like a bigger boss, bigger challenge, this one's giving you 5, and the color of the chest is a different color. It's like gold. From the other ones we've seen, they're like a darkish blue or a black kind of color, right? With the whole resin stuff, 40 fragments and all that stuff, we're gonna go into this map. Now the map looks very interesting, but the thing that I really want to point out here is the stamina / resin thing at the bottom left corner here. We have 200 out of 240. Now this can potentially mean that this is indeed the resin system for Wuthering Waves. Now I just want to point out that if this stays at 240, that is a lot to use, especially when we just used 40 right now for that boss. So that means if we wanted to use all 240, we would be able to do that 6 times, which is, I think, a little bit more than what we're used to, but it depends on how much each thing costs. Nonetheless, it's still nice to know that we start with 240 and the game hasn't even come out yet. So really cool detail here to note. And no offense, but I mean, Genshin Impact has been begging for more resin for so long. They got a little bit, they did get like a small update on that, but we're still stuck at 160, and the game has been out for 2.5 years, almost 3, going on 3. And the fact that this game already has 240 says a lot to me, that they really want me to play the game a lot longer. That's what I'm getting out of it. That's what I'm thinking. I wanted to talk about this as Tide Rising Cliff, but we gotta talk about how my boy Ji-Yeon running through the field like a madman, and this guy literally decides to jump over a freaking goat. He jumped over a goat because he is the goat, okay? I wanted to address this part, which I thought was very interesting. I don't know if this is a lock-on feature, but it almost looks like it was like a target lock feature right there, this little circle, and there's like waves around it. I don't exactly know if that's a target lock on. The person playing did miss, it completely went up, but maybe because this enemy jumped. It's cool to know that there's 2 different types of enemies and they could fight against each other. I think that's a really cool little detail to the game. If you guys haven't seen my video, I did like a very in-depth video on Ji-yeon's like kit and like how his auto attacks and all that stuff works. So make sure to click that video if you want to watch that. Probably help you out a lot on that. Did I just see particles go in? Yeah, these are particles right here. So maybe that's the energy system that we were talking about earlier. So maybe when we attack the enemy, use a skill, we get some energy coming in. Look at these little energy particles going to her. So maybe that's how she builds up her ultimate attack, or the Concerto thing down here. We see some waves, whatever. Nonetheless, still very interesting altogether. So we have a challenge here. You literally turn into a dragonfly and you could just like move around, collect these orbs. I just think this gives the puzzle a little bit different. It's like fresh, it's like different, it's new. I've never seen this mechanic in a game like that. And we also have like this weird enemy here, which I have no idea what that is. As we go down, there's this weird enemy here, which I don't know what this thing is. It looks weird. It looks like it's a rock, but it might be a different variant of the rock echo that we saw earlier. This one looks kind of crazy. It has like a bunch of stuff here. It's level 6 and it's guarding a chest for us to open. All in all, there's a lot to like really uncover when it comes to this. You know, there's a lot of things that we need to really explore for ourselves to really understand how this game actually works, you know. And I think that's why they're doing the beta, because when we start playing the beta, a lot of these speculations and theories and like guesses that I'm making, trying to make content on this game, I'm trying to figure out like what is going on, but these questions won't be answered until I actually get to play the beta. Yeah guys, we're gonna end the video here. I appreciate you guys a ton. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to watch or are interested in more Wuthering Waves content, I am basically transitioned fully already to like making more Wuthering Waves content. I'm just really interested in the game aesthetics, the whole system in general. Just looks like an amazing game. The combat is just fluid, it's so flawless. Like, I'm just too excited about this game. If you're interested in that, definitely subscribe. Comment down below if I missed anything. Let's start a conversation about the things that I might have missed. Let's talk. I want to get to know you guys, want to know this community. The community so far for Wuthering, like PGR community together with Wuthering's community, guys, you guys are freaking amazing, by the way. You guys are super freaking nice, and the feedback I've been getting from my other videos have been phenomenal. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys for even taking the time to watch my videos. And yeah guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch you guys on the next one.